Good morning and welcome back to Atlanta Smite Launch Tournament. My name is F. I'm joined here with my friend Kret. After yesterday's games, I am still just as excited for a day 2 in our 3-day event. How you feeling this morning, Kret?
I'm feeling just wonderful, and I can't wait to get started with the losers bracket. Now, this is a double elimination tournament, which means once you lose a game in the winners bracket, you drop down to a secondary bracket, more best of 3s, but this time, when you lose a match, you go home.
Yeah, so it's very different from our normal weeklies. One shot, one opportunity, and then you're done. This week, you have a second chance. So if you kind of missed the bar, if you kind of missed the bet yesterday, today's your second opportunity, your second chance to go ahead and bring home the money. So we're gonna see a couple of teams play. We're gonna get into SK and Denial today, two of the more premier teams, and we're gonna see what they can bring to the table on day 2.
Yeah, we're gonna be looking at Denial to come back strong. They lost to the first seed, TSM, who's looking very strong, taking down Dignitas and going into what's going to be, I guess it's the winners bracket semifinals?
It is going to be the semifinals, and we had some amazing games yesterday. Let's just recap the action that we saw yesterday. So we saw right here on our Smite Pro feed, we got to see Cognitive Gaming play Snipe Gaming, and that was some of the most exciting, high-octane, riveting gameplay I've ever seen come out of Smite, Fred.
Yeah, Snipe came in very strong. They built a wonderful team comp in Game 1, and with great use of Isis's Circle Protection and the Aegis Amulet, they took a resounding victory over Cognitive Gaming with multiple 5-0 team fights. Once again, against Cognitive Gaming, your North American first seed.
Yeah, and bringing up that Isis, I have to talk about Nick. His Isis play was out of control. Isis, of course, being a more skill-based mage as opposed to some of the other choices. Unfortunately, the team just couldn't pull it off. Cognitive wound up bringing one of a record-setting comeback, 16,000 gold deficit. Cognitive turned it around, took Game 2 after losing the first one, and then stole Game 3 in pretty much unspectacular fashion. Very quick, just letting everybody know that they still are the #1 seed.
Yeah, and it just came down to morale. Snipe, after that comeback, was broken. We're going to see if they can pull it back today in our second match of the day. We will be seeing Snipe either on the main stream or our stream. However, let's talk about the other matches we saw, and we did have some good ones. Cognitive Gaming, not only were they in our third match of the day, they were in our first match going up against Team Coast Blue.
Yeah, that was also exciting. Team Coast Blue, as the 4th seed, they really couldn't hold it against the 1st seed, but they tried their hardest, and they did offer us a good watch and a good game. But the story of yesterday, his name is Game Hunter. Sometimes we call him God Hunter. He got a pentakill. That's 5 players killed by 1 player. Absolutely incredible display of mechanics. But for now, we're going to go into our game. Once again, it's SK Gaming versus Denial.
So let's talk about SK. We mentioned Denial. SK, they fell to Dignitas?
Yes, sir.
And Dignitas played very well against them. Looking at these stats, SK does have a higher win rate. They were the European 3rd seed, Denial being the North American 4th seed. So you would expect this to be somewhat of an uphill battle, but it is hard to gauge how these two regions compare, as it's just a different setup. Now, we do have, from SK, we've got some really strong players. RealZX and Anchor for his team. Proxy QQ, a very strong jungler, but more the type of jungler that specializes in specific characters.
Exactly.
Freya.
Yeah, RealZX is really a great hunter, does his thing. I love the way he places on her, and we'll take a look at that. And on the other side of the coin, we have Denial eSports. We mentioned how they're all about teamwork. Jeff Hindley isn't the only support. Sometimes we look at Makes to the face of center lane, and the way he positions himself, he becomes a support. And more importantly, Ponpon, ooh la la. Ponpon's jungle play is more than just the average ganking and killing when it's opportunistic. Ponpon looks to create opportunities for the rest of his team, and it creates a gigantic... That's sort of what Denial's about culture-wise. They're about one big family.
Yeah, Denial You know, I'm going to quote Dan Brennan here. Support is a mindset, and Denial has more support players than any other team. Mace the Face is a support mid. There's their support player, Jeff Hinlow, who's one of the best supports in the world unequivocally, and I think a lot of people would argue that he is hands down the best.
Yeah.
Then you've got Rush, who's a very supportive solo laner, and Pon Pon, a very supportive jungle, and the team forms around their captain, Payne Devion. They're going to be going against SK Gaming, and the first pick for SK Gaming is going to actually go to Badja. Tell us a little bit about Badja.
So, Badja's funny. He had a history in the competitive scene before, playing for...
It was Copenhagen Wolves and Bipolar Method.
All right, so he's been in and around the scene, but for the past couple of months, he just fell off. The man disappeared.
Yeah.
He didn't play for any teams. He didn't play for anyone. He didn't play for anything. SK Gaming, in place of him, had a man named Poang. But here's the kicker, Kret. Poang was Badja. For the entire 8 weeks of the Path to Smite launch tournament, we were trolled, ladies and gentlemen. Badja is the same Badja from Copenhagen Wolves. Badja is the same player you've seen months before, playing under a different alias, and being as a lot of the stuff was online, no one could really tell.
And playing with different teammates, which is interesting to note. Team Coast Blue has 2 players from the old Copenhagen Wolves. That's going to be Spoo and hi-rez, which they were actually lane partners.
Oh,
then you've got Badja, who is lane partner, the support for Youngbay. Badja's alone on SK, and on TSM, you've got Youngbay and Lobster. Lobster was the mid, Youngbay was the hunter. So the European scene has these legacy players, and they're split up. But let's talk about this game. For the bans, we have Zeus and Nemesis, 2 very strong characters. It looks like SK doesn't want to play Zeus because, well, honestly, I think they still could have gotten away with letting it be banned by Denial. Just because, do you really want to let Zeus through? They're going to first pick Odin, but Denial, they're going to get Shock and Freya.
All right, so right here, Freya traditionally finds a role in the jungle, but Denial eSports, they like to do something different with Freya, don't they, Kret?
Yeah, they like to play Freya in the duo lane, which has mixed results.
Yes.
Sometimes she comes out and she's Freya, the Freya you know and probably hate playing against because it's annoying and horrifying. She does massive damage when her stereo is up. You aggress on her, she goes into her ultimate and does massive damage. Then she lands and does more massive damage. It's just a character that offers amazing power and pretty good control with Banish.
Yeah.
So a strong pickup, and we're going to actually see an Artemis come out from SK Gaming.
That's interesting. And there it is right there on your screen. Artemis hasn't been picked that much. You see the 11% pick ban rate, but at the end of the day, Artemis is the queen of poke. She does have the hail of arrows.
Transgressor's
Fate. And what it does, it's a long
No,
range,
suppress the insulin.
Suppress the insulin, and it does suppress the insulin. It's a long range poke. It clears the archers at a certain level like that. And should you group the front and the back minions up, it does that as well. But more importantly, it catches the enemy, it deals a lot of damage, and it slows them down.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it comes down to is Artemis is a very high damage character, very powerful, but similar to AMC, she doesn't have an escape. She doesn't have a dash. Instead, her defense is CC immunity and Tusky.
Yeah.
And Tusky, I was talking to Lasses on Wednesday. Tusky's a prick. When you're playing Artemis, sometimes Tusky will just do nothing.
Yeah.
When you're against Artemis, sometimes Tusky will stun 8 people. He's crazy. A very inconsistent ultimate.
Yeah, we see that with Bastet from time to time. Bringing it back to think about Xing playing Bastet yesterday for Smite. So sometimes the cats just don't do anything. As we look at our Hunter matchup for about 1.5 seconds, we see realZX could be playing Hunter on Team SK Gaming, hailing from England, and we see Payne Devion going to be playing for Denial eSports coming from Canada. So very exciting stuff going on right there. The matchup is going to be exciting, especially when you consider that Payne is most likely going to be on that Freya character.
Yeah, so the last character locked in, we are going to see Freya in the jungle. No Hunter or Freya. It's going to be on her against Artemis, and that's a very interesting matchup when it comes to fighting. On her can jump in, and if the disperse lands, Artemis will probably die.
Yeah.
However, If Artemis pre-casts Tusky as Anhur is in the air, Anhur will probably die. It's a very volatile matchup because both of these characters, if they fight, they both have a high chance to kill each other.
Definitely.
Somebody's going to die, and somebody's going to die fast. It's going to be determined in the first few moments of the fight. So you have like a small opportunity to outplay the other person, and then anything else is just like madly salvaging. Another very interesting pick, Mace of the Face is going to be playing Scylla in the middle lane.
Yeah, I do like that. Skill is one of our newer gods available for the god pool, coming out about 3 weeks ago. She's a very powerful burst mage. As I said, if she's new, so you might not be familiar with her. She has an ability that snares, she has an ability that slows, and also deals massive burst. And her ultimate allows her to deal even more burst. So should you get caught in that situation, then it's crazy to look at.
Yeah, and what it comes down to is Scylla's a really good pick against Odin, and the reason for that is Odin has a ring, and it locks in players. So what's really interesting there is Scylla's able to get out of that ring, unlike any other mage in the game.
Yeah, Scylla has a blink available to her, which, you know, the only other mage with an escape like that is Agni, who we don't see in this game. We're going to take a look. The captain Twig is going to be playing middle lane on Ra. So somebody that's definitely pretty cool going on right there. Going to be moving very fast, but no raw escape. Scylla can actually go through the walls, believe it or not. So that's definitely something that works out and going to be something to look forward to in that middle lane.
Now, let's talk about the Denial, what they're doing right here. They're grouping up as 5. They're looking for an opportunity, but they're not going to find it. Partially because you've got nice wording coming out from SK Gaming, and partially because they're up against an Odin. Odin's passive, Birds of Wisdom, is essentially wall hacks. It allows you to see through walls, or see enemies through walls in an area around you. They're uncovered on your mini-map. So when you're grouping as 5 in the early game and looking for picks against Odin, it's not likely to happen.
Right. So let's introduce our teams. On the left side, you do have SK Gaming. That's going to be Captain Twig in your middle lane. We're going to have Proxy QQ in the jungle on Habwa, something we used to see a lot more often. Badge is going to be playing the support Odin. NQ going to be playing solo lane on Vamana, and Reels X in that dual lane with Badge.
On the other side of the map, it's going to be Ponpon Ulala on Freya, Rushed on Chalk in the solo lane, and Ponpon in the jungle. In the middle lane, Mace of the Face on Zilla. In the dual lane, Jeff Hinla on Sun Wukong, and Pain Devion on that Hunter on her.
Yeah, that Hunter on her is going to be very interesting to play, as we're going to see how on her is a lot skill based. It's all about hitting a combo and doing it right, and we're going to see how well he can pull it off.
Yeah, and so right now, let's take a short look at our solo lane, dual lane matchup. By which I mean the junglers are in lane, so essentially it's a 2v2. Now Chalk is going to be landing a lot of poke here, and Proxy on his Habwa can also poke quite well with the water spout, but Chalk's actually able to poke Proxy enough that he feels uncomfortable and will be returning to base. When a jungler returns to base at the 120 point, it's going to be a rough match.
It definitely really is. You're gonna have to watch out for that. And in the dual, let's take a look at our solo lane matchup. We have Chalk against Vamana. Tell me what you think about this matchup, Brett.
Chalk against Vamana. They both clear very efficiently. Chalk won't lose lane, and he'll be a big presence in team fights. It's probably just going to be a stalemate, honestly, unless a really strong jungler presence comes out and just wins the lane for the solo laner.
Right. And over here on the left-hand side, we see the poke that's coming out that we were talking about earlier. Pain Devion sitting lower than 50% HP from that Artemis push. As it goes on, Pain will be able to clear the entire wave with just one button of Impale. So that's something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, so now let's talk about this middle lane. We're going to see the gold camps coming up. Denial will be securing the left camp, and it's going to be SK securing the right camp. So no fight happening here. Both middle laners are going to hit level 5. Proxy rotating into the middle lane to pick up some extra experience, where Pon is rotating over to get the blue buff for his dual lane and make sure that's secured nice and easy. It's going to go to Jeff Hinla, who will be using it to poke incessantly.
For sure. Jeff Hinla actually loves that Sun Wukong. Very adept at playing that character for sure. And we're going to see how well he can do. Sometimes we see him sort of carry in this support role as Rush gets a lot of poke over there on the solo lane. So look to Jeff Hinla building maybe even aggressively, unlike the traditional support, on the Sun Wukong as he feels so comfortable on this god.
It's just a very strong character. And a big asset there is that in the early game, supports are vulnerable. They're characters that can actually be killed, as opposed to the later game supports where they're just so tanky that you can't focus them at all. In the early game, well, they die a lot quicker than you expect and don't do that much damage, so they're not a huge threat. Because of that, Sun Wukong, who can escape very easily, has a strong advantage over other supports such as, let's say, Ymir or Sobek.
Yeah, we do see Proxy QQ showing off just why Hopwell really works in that jungle. His clear is just so powerful. Only level 6 and able to clear camps in just a couple of abilities. He'll be able to clear quickly, clear faster than Pon perhaps. But at the moment, Pon, they're about even. Pon is just barely ahead of Proxy as far as gold is concerned. But take a look at that 2-level advantage for Proxy QQ.
Yeah, Proxy is going to be in a good situation relative to Pon, and Pon's going to actually find a water spout, hit by the snipe up into the air, but with 50 health, and this is going to be, off the Crushing Wave, your Logitech First Blood. Nicely done by SK Gaming.
Yeah, 100, very well played over there. Grouped up nicely, able to just catch Pon out of position where he was. And, you know, credit to Proxy QQ. He started off with the first kill, and that's going to be very scary. Habwa is a character that snowballs. That term means he's going to start off slow, ramp up rather quickly if he gets the opportunity. And right there, Kret, that's certainly the opportunity.
Yeah, it's just a very strong hyper carry, which is really interesting, but also interesting, there's a ward in the middle lane from Denial. So I guess that means they want to have eyes on Captain Twig and where he's rotating, regardless of whether or not Mace the Face is in lane. That's their plan, but it's still an interesting ward placement and not something we've really seen since Mercury was a common pick.
Is that something that you really think is a good play, or are you in agreement with that word? Because I don't really, you know, it's good. I really like it because it will allow you to catch the jungler as he passes on through.
Yeah, you're gonna see that rotation from Habwa coming through, and it's going to be, it's gonna help take note of where the jungler is, which is important, but it's not necessarily the most useful ward, and that 50 gold might have been better spent somewhere else.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of it's only 50 gold, and we'll see the impact of it. And if it makes no impact, then it is just a wasted gold. Right there exemplifies just why Ra is such a high tier pick, able to clear the wave very quickly. Only level 9. We see Badger jockeying for position over this mid camp as Mace to the Face and Pon sit right here, ready for the 2v2.
Yeah, can't wait to see what happens in this one. Badger's taking an aggressive stance, but he's only level 6. We'll get some poke from Scylla, but it looks like Denial's going to back off with the positioning from Proxy. I don't think they're really going to be able to get either of these mid camps, and that could be, I just don't think that's the right call for the situation, but they are going to find NQ on Vamana a little bit far up, not able to confirm that kill. Pon will not get sniped, but both mid camps going to SK. That's a big win for them. And Rushed chose not to rotate. We'll get a wave into the tower, but I don't think it's going to be enough tower poke to make it worthwhile. The heavy rotation from SK relative to Denial will secure a map objective for them, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's all about the rotation together. Right there we see the jump from Badger. Payne all by himself as Jeff has gone. He's on his way now, but he was still in the middle lane. Payne can hold his own for the most part, especially against the support, so that's going to be of no consequence. We see the blue going to Sun Wukong, Jeff Hinla playing that Sun Wukong. And again, there are some gods where blue buff does go on the support. Sun Wukong is not traditionally one of them, but with Jeff Hinla's play style, This will allow him to be a little more of a carry than he is normally, and will allow him to use more abilities with that mana.
Oh, Pain could be in trouble here. He did use his Disperse, but Odin just couldn't find the angle he needed for that Ring of Spears. And part of the problem with this Odin-Artemis duel lane is it just doesn't have great synergy unless Artemis can get in the ring before Odin drops it. She can drop suppress the insolent over the wall and help Odin by slowing his target, but that's really it.
That's true. The slow is going to come out from that pillar, of course, so we'll see how that's going to go out. That's of course talking about the honor on the other side. So both characters do have a slow and an ability to work around it, but it's all about the combo crit. It's all about the pillar and the impale into the pillar as the impale is a knockback with a stun component should it hit a wall.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a strong combo, but we haven't seen Pain positioning aggressively for it. And the few times we have seen Badger jump in with that Odin lunge, Pain has actually missed the impale off of that. So I don't know if we're really going to see that combo coming out this game. It feels like his mechanics are a little bit shaky today, maybe a little tired or something like that. Now we are going to have a contest for this right camp. Jeff Hindler's going to go aggressive on Proxy, but won't be able to take it. Proxy ults forward. He's going to find Mace of the Face, who is in I'm a Monster, not able to get I'm a Monster off before he does fall. Pon position in the back as Captain Twig ults. The ult from Captain Twig is not going to hit. Jeff Hindler getting very low as Pon is cleaned up by Twig. Rush will find Proxy, and Pain's rotation will pick up Badger, but now NQ is going to aggress onto Pain and turn onto Rush as Pain jumps out. The sprint is going to be able to get him out, but with only 100 health, he will die to the Armored Umbrella, and that is going to be strongly in favor of SK Gaming.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3v2, 3-4-2 engagement. We already do see the players respawning as we're just under the 10-minute mark. Right now we have SK Gaming just barely in the lead, sporting a 1,300 gold lead at the moment. We have the same amount of towers up. Not a single tower has fallen. Nobody has touched the Gold Fury. And 2 extra kills as it's 4 against 2 for SK Gaming.
Yeah, so now SK Gaming sitting at that nice 1,000 lead at the roughly 10-minute mark. They're ahead, and they've won the early game, but not by a massive margin. But this is the kind of lead that they can turn into something bigger, and you can see that advantage reflected also in the tower pressure. The solo lane tower, NQ has been doing a great job of beating down Rush's door, and the middle lane tower, Captain Twig has done a nice job of pushing back Mace to the Face. So both a gold and slight positional advantage is in favor of SK Gaming.
For sure, and we're going to see how well they can work it out. You know, Denial and SK are pretty...
Oh, in the middle lane, though, Proxy going to get taken down by Mace to the Face. A nice combo off the Banish, and I'm a Monster will secure that kill. So nicely done from Denial, and that's the kind of pick that help you recover from this slight deficit.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to knock 200 gold off of the enemy's lead, and as we see, Rush actually forced into using the ult. He's going to try and turn around onto NQ. NQ, of course, not reaching that critical mass that we talk about normally on Vamana just yet. That you're going to see he's building into the Fatalis. He has level 2 at the moment. That's going to build into Hasten Fatalis, which is going to take away the movement speed penalty for basic attacks. And as Vamana is a basic attack character in the ultimate, his basic attack is all he does. It'll allow him to keep on trucking, and if you don't have an escape, there is no escape.
So interesting choice from Badger, but a very good one. He's opted for sprint instead of blink on Odin. Now there's a very important reason for this. He's going to get Heavenly Agility, which is very strong, and blink Odin isn't going to be that good this game because Scylla can get out, Freya can get out, Jeff Hindler Sun Wukong can get out, Anhur can get out, and Shock can get out. All 5 characters from Denial can get out. Now some of them have to use ultimates to do so, but nonetheless, the Odin ring isn't going to actually keep anyone in, and SK doesn't actually have any good ways into the ring.
That's very true, you know. So there's more to Odin than just the ring. There are a couple of characters in Smite that sometimes have the word ultbot attached to them, and Odin may seem like one at the top level, but when you look at him intrinsically, there is just so much more to be offered. He does have that slow. He does have a lot of poke with that launch, and he has a lot of passes, but my favorite move of Odin's skill set is the shout.
Yeah, Odin's Shout is a very strong steroid, giving, I believe, 55% attack speed at the max level, which is a very strong DPS increase. On a Hunter, it'll be around 25%, sometimes 30. It depends on what they're building, and that's just how much the damage is increased by. So it can be a very strong factor with a character like Artemis, and Vamana will do nice damage, and even the mages, if they build enough magic power, will have good damage as well.
Yeah, the snipe comes out just to secure those camps, and now it looks like Denial wants a kill. Out comes the I'm a Monster. Proxy having to defensively ultimate, just barely getting out of there. We're going to see Mace of the Face use that blink to get out of this ring, but now he's looking low. Going to get killed in the back from Badja. Pon in the air, not going to catch anybody out. So right now the only death is Mace of the Face. Pain is getting a lot of damage on him from NQ. NQ searching for it. He's going to pick up Pain. Credit goes to Badja after all of that. And now Captain Twig is actually going to pay. Out comes the Aegis. Down comes the Storm Call. Rush takes down Captain Twig. We're looking at a 2-for-1 engagement at the moment, but Rush is in trouble now.
Yeah, NQ is aggressing very hard, and he's not super strong right now, but he does have the item that makes him good, the Hasten Fatalis. Rush will find a little bit of distance, and NQ won't be able to secure that kill, but nonetheless, SK came into the fight and did a wonderful job of securing quite a few kills.
Yeah, I mean, that was Denial's fight, Cret. Denial wanted that fight. Denial looked good for that fight. They didn't get the kill onto Proxy, which was a very unfortunate circumstance. We're going to see SK pull this gold free. Jeff Hindler's lurking in the back. He does have the Confirm Hog available to him, so that's level 3. He's up in the air on that Somersault Cloud. 25% is approaching. Jeff's going to jump way too late and be forced to turn around.
Yeah, but Proxy QQ will get banished out, and the poke is coming through. Mace of Face trying to find an angle. I don't think he can get close enough. The ultimate is not ready, so no way to secure Proxy there. And you know, this Hebo and Scylla matchup is really scary when those two characters go head-to-head, because they both essentially kill each other super quickly. Captain Twig will be forced to use beads in the middle lane, and damage to the tower coming out from Denial, but it's not going to be that much, as Pon on Freya doesn't really have that much tower damage, and Rush doesn't really either.
Yeah, not at this point in time. We'll see their tower damage go up, specifically Shocked. Not so much Freya's, but we'll see that damage go up as the game progresses and more items get put onto their characters. But at the end of the day, when you're looking to kill a tower, it's all about the Hunters. The Hunters are the one, and some specific assassins have skill sets that allow them to do a lot of damage, but Hunters are traditionally your structure damage kings.
Yeah, and you know, it's characters like Mercury and Najah, the assassins, that can really kill the towers. We are going to have Tusky come out in the duel lane. Jeff Handler could be in trouble. Odin Shout comes out. That's going to be enough to secure the kill. Tusky aggresses onto Pain. Not going to find that much damage off of it. And Jeff Handler actually used a shell there, but it wasn't enough to save him.
Yeah, I do like the shell pickup. We saw this yesterday on, I think, Dare to Care picked up a shell of absorption. And now we see
Omega did.
Omega picked up the shell of absorption. And we see Jeff Hindler picking up the shell of absorption. This is a great play against an Odin specifically. When your characters get stuck in the ring, even though the Denial's lineup doesn't really have that, at any point in time, abilities can be off cooldown, on cooldown, or whatnot. Face to the Face takes a little bit of poke. Not really a gank, but just sort of a showing of the face from Badja, pushes him back onto the tower. When your abilities are on cooldown and not able to be used and you're stuck in that ring, a quality, well-played shield will be able to give you a couple of extra protections. Specifically, you'll get 45 protections for 5 seconds, in addition to 15% reduced damage. That'll be a lot when stuck in a pain ring like Odin.
So right now we have a rotation coming out from Proxy into the solo lane. Jeb Henlet's going to rotate to counter that, but Badger's going to rotate as well. And with 3 against 2 on this tower and better push because of zoning from SK, they're going to be looking to take this tower. Badger's in position, and with the Ring of Spears, they can likely just all in the tower. Odin Shout's going to help as well. The tower goes down. Ring of Spears will find 2, and they're not going to be getting out just yet, but Creeping Curse does come out, and now a big rotation coming out from Denial. They're going to try and push their advantage.
Yeah, Denial is down at the moment, but they have SK on their heels. They had a better fight than SK just by positioning sake, not by experience or gold sake by any means, but they opted instead to play the safe play, which is probably the better choice. We're sitting at the 17-minute mark, now already down about 5,000, just about 4,500 gold, which is a substantial lead at this moment in time. 4,500 is the beginning of when this lead can really become extrapolated and become a big problem for Denial.
Yeah, Denial is going to be grouping up to try and do something about that, and they just need to find an objective. Their team fight right now isn't bad. Now, SK also has a very good team fight, which is a problem, but both, it's volatile. There's just a lot of damage on both of these teams. And it comes down to Scylla and Freya for Denial. And on the other side, it's Habois for damage, and the Raw really for sustain. And while he does have very, very good damage when he hits his snipe and his celestial beam, it's really that Solar Blessing that's going to make the difference in these team fights.
Yeah, 100%. Look for the defensive Solar Blessing. It's an ability that's going to be behind friendly lines so that players can retreat back and get a little bit of extra stuff. And
ooh, Odin's going to get caught out.
Long range. Odin's getting stunned. Ponpon's up in the air. Not enough to kill Badger, but Mace gets the kill from the back line. Ponpon's going to pay for that from Reels. Out comes up a monster. It's going to miss onto Reels. He's going to try to escape. Gets hit with a Jingle Bang magical cudgel. And Captain Twig actually gets Mace to the face in the fray. So a lot of low players for SK that Denial just couldn't seal the deal on. And Payne and Jeff are also very low. Very scary as Captain Twig and Proxy, two high-powered mages, are right here aggressing on the tower.
Yeah, you know, Mesoface's rotation and positioning there was very, very strong. He did a massive amount of damage to the SK lineup, but the follow-up from his team just was not sufficient to secure any kills past the one kill he caught onto Badger. Now, in the middle lane, we are going to have Rushed trying to hold that tower, but he's not going to be able to hold this gold fear, which is going to just spawn right now. And SK should be able to secure this nice and easily. They don't have their Odin, they don't have a Confirm Hog, but they have more than enough damage. Jeff Himmler, though, he's on his way. Will he get there in time? No, SK Gaming will secure the Gold Fury. They got a second Wrath of the Gods on Proxy. Nice pickup there, but Proxy's going to fall. Rush able to dash away from that one, so one for the Gold Fury. Maybe Denial can make something come out from that.
Yeah, that's going to be worth it for sure. Denial really needs to aggress right here. Looks like they're going to. They get the double lift. Great play right there coming out of Ponpon. Going to see if they can convert off of that. Their sights are on Badger once more, and still not enough damage to kill it. NQ in that critical mass right now, aggressing onto Rush. Not enough. The I'm a Monster's going to miss. Jeff Hindler up on that Somersault Cloud, and now it's time for Denial to disengage.
Yeah, now, SK did back off completely, and Denial's going to be able to take the blue buff off of that, but because the lanes were pushed, if Denial wants to take this tower, and they do, they have to backdoor it, but SK, Captain Twig and Badger are here, and Denial's just not going to be able to take the tower with that defense, even though it's not a huge defense. Mesoface in the middle lane is in the better spot here. We'll be able to get some damage on the tower, and unfortunately, Denial didn't spot out that the middle tower was vulnerable, and the left tower was not.
Yeah, that was a play to make. That would have been a great play coming out of Denial, but they went for the more opportunistic one. They were right there. They figured we'll just take it, or at least 50% damage. Towers do not regen health. That is still a great play. The middle tower might have been the better play, Kret, but as you saw Habois come up the lane, you know, there was sufficient backup right there. So it was a good play to go where you were already at, get the 50% damage, and back off. The middle tower was a little bit of a gamble, but you might have gotten it. So at this point in time, you're down 6,800 gold. You really don't want to play that risky role.
I disagree.
Do you?
I think you're down 7,000 gold, and it's 20 minutes. You have to do something almost stupid to come back. Sometimes you just have to take the risk before it gets worse. And honestly, I think that point happened about 5 minutes ago, but they still have to try something. And maybe it's just, you know, going for trying to sneak the Fire Giant. Maybe it's trying to counter a Fire Giant or bait a Fire Giant, but now let's do something, and they're going to find Captain Twig in the middle lane.
Yeah, and at the moment, you know, this is 21 minutes in. There's still lots of Smite to be played. 7,000 gold down. Out comes a couple of ultimates. The Sniper's going to miss from Captain Twig, and Tusky's going to do absolutely nothing. Not stun anybody. So these 5 members of Team Denial in the middle lane. Payne's going to retreat back to his own lane, grab some safe harpies before he leaves, and going to get and push up his lane for some solo farm.
You know, Ra's such a powerful character. Mace of the Face nailed I'm a Monster onto Reels X. Dropped him to half health, one Solar Blessing, and he's back at full, pushing this tower, and it's going to go down for SK Gaming. And it's a lack of sustain against Ra, who's just a very strong sustain character. That's a big hole in Denial's lineup right here, in that SK can poke and heal, and Denial can poke, but they can't heal.
Very, very, very true. When you have one healer on one team, and then without a healer on the other team, it creates such an imbalance, essentially, that if engagements last longer than your character's burst, then the team with the healer just wins. There really is no way to get around that without building certain, without building beat stick or enfeebling curse, and even those, they only last a couple of seconds.
Or without just killing the healer. But Captain Twig's not going to let that happen. He has greater purification, greater ages, so 2 ways to break out of crowd control. He's very quick, and you know, a properly used Odin Ring is another factor that can protect the Ra. It grants a mass amount of protections to anyone within the ring. This Ra, despite the fact that he doesn't actually have an escape, is very, very safe.
Yeah, he's only got 1 death on him. You know, the lowest amount of death outside of the unkillable NQ and Reels. So he's 3-1 and 4, a very good slash on for the Ra. You know, it's all about keeping him alive. You know, we saw this a couple of times in the past. You really have to protect a singular character, and Ra's going to be it, Cret. We're going to look to see SK protecting Captain Twig the entire time. Already at that level 20, the only member in the entire game at level 20, so he's going to be forced to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah, now we do have SK pushing forward into the left-hand jungle. They're looking for an opportunity onto Nile, and they might find it as Jeff Hinla engages, but Captain Twig could be in trouble here. Heavenly Agility is activated. He's down very low, will be healing up, but Weakening Curse is going to cause a problem. Rush looking for the kill, but Ra's just too fast, and Rush stuck in that ring won't be able to aggress. NQ will be diving the middle tower, but not able to find Pon, and nice turnaround from Face to Face will force him back. Real ZX does fall to Rush, who's done a great job of diving that backline, and Ra's sustain hasn't been enough in this engagement, as Ra was pressured just too hard. Now granted, he didn't die, but he did get pushed out, and now Denial, they're in a decent spot, but they have to find the right engagement here.
Yeah, you know, Denial needs to look for the individual picks. Jeff Hinla gets a double knock, a very good play right there. The proxy QQ ultimate's gonna miss, but NQ's gonna pick up Pain in the back, and Rush is gonna fall in the front as well. Between that, Jeff Hinla has died. Mace of the Face and Pon, the only members of Team Denial, still alive. SK has 4 members to their name. Real's the only one that fell, and this is gonna be a 4-man aggression onto the gold free.
Oh, Mace of the Face gets knocked forward and killed. That is the power of Habois.
Very true, very, very true. Mace of the Face really, you know, might have been able to confirm that with his ultimate, but it's down at the moment. Nothing really to go on there. You know, I think that was just a misplay out of position coming out of Mace of the Face.
It was, and what happened was Mace of the Face used his ultimate when Jeff Hinla engaged, but he wasn't in position to actually find anyone with that hit. If that ultimate had connected,
right,
you likely would have seen Denial turn that fight around. Now Pon, he's going to get caught out of position again. The crush, or the water cannon does miss, but Habois' auto attacks with Polynomicon just hit hard enough. And this is going to be a Fire Giant attempt from SK Gaming, but look who's waiting in the wings.
Jeff Hinla's waiting. Real sees what's going. Wow, that was a lot of damage. The Fire Giant's already dead, as well as Jeff Hinla. No steal for you today. Just a quick and bloody death. Jeff Hinla down for the 2nd time in a single minute. That's going to be a lot. He's going to be down for still 30 seconds. 3 members of Team Denial are up. Right now we're sitting at the 26-minute mark in the first game of a best of 3. Denial is trailing by 11,700 gold. A lot of their members are down experience as well. This game is looking very good for SK Gaming.
And what it comes down to is just Odin is a character that really accelerates your ability to take down objectives. That Fire Giant died in about 10 seconds flat, which is the fastest Fire Giant that we've seen on Smite Pro so far in this tournament, just because this is an Odin team comp with auto attacks coming out of Vamana, auto attacks coming out of Artemis, 2 very high damage auto attackers, and you know, Habois no slouch either. Ra providing that heal to keep everyone topped up. Just a very, very strong objective comp. And when they're ahead like this, they're good at team fights too. What really can stop SK at this point?
we're going to look for Denial looking specifically for picks. You know, I say this every game, but that's really what you want to do. You just need to force the other team to make mistakes when you're this far behind, Krat. There's really nothing you can do outside of, you know, you might be able to deke SK to one side and then transfer 4 members of your team to the other side to take a quick tower. But at the moment, you know, Denial has 3 towers left, and SK's not a single tower has fallen.
Right, so SK is going to be doing a 4-on-1 push with real-zex on the left-hand side and the remainder of the team in that middle lane. They will be rotating over to make sure that Denial cannot stop real-zex, who's now regrouping with the team. And, you know, I think Denial can still take this team fight. It's going to be bloody, but it rests on the shoulders of Mesa Face. If he can connect with I'm a Monster.
Yeah,
now, we are going to have aggression onto Frey in the back. Ponpon's in trouble, but the ring is good. Pain is going to jump out and won't be able to get very good damage off. I'm a Monster comes through. It's not going to connect, and Denial is going to fall. 4 down. Mesa Face, the sole remaining member. Zoe's going to allow him to get out, but that's going to be 2 Phoenixes just for... No, it's going to be the Titan.
Yeah, we see the surrender vote has come out. The Titan doesn't even get a chance to fall. The first game lasts 28 minutes, 8 seconds, goes to SK Gaming. They are up 1 in the best of 3. Let's take a look at our teams right here, Craig. NQ looks rather proud of himself, wouldn't you say?
Where's NQ?
I don't know where NQ is actually. NQ, of course, is at the front of your screen. One of the inside Smite jokes that we've been talking about lately. NQ is a great guy, and right now, as he looks at the camera with that smile, he definitely understands the type of game he just played. He played very, very well. Actually, 0 deaths to his name and 11 whole assists. So definitely feeling himself at the moment and looking rather smug.
Oh yeah, that's just confident play coming out of SK Gaming. They did a great job of controlling the game from very early on and not giving Denial a chance to take them down. SK just looked great.
Yeah, this really was SK's game to win. The story was less about Denial, you know, underperforming. We saw maybe 1 or 2 plays that I didn't necessarily agree with, Kret. It was more about positioning than overall decision making. And at the end of the day, Denial, SK just took it away. They really played lights out. We see a 3-0-11 slash line from NQ in that solo lane. What more can you ask for? You know, we talked about Ra's single death. The amount of healing that he was able to provide with that build was just incredible. The exact number on that is 11,859 damage. When you consider that players have about 2,000 HP, that's a lot of healing.
Yeah, it's really quite a lot, and that's just what happens when you have Ra against a team that doesn't. Now, a lot of damage did come out of both Rushed, Mesa Face, and actually Jeff Hindla did a lot of damage. Ponpon and Pain doing not that much, and that's essentially because they weren't allowed to. SK Gaming was pushing forward very aggressively, and NQ was standing in front of them saying, you can't do much damage to me, and if you stand here and try and box me, I'm just going to win. Badger would force the ring, repeatedly stopping Pain from auto-attacking anyone even remotely important, and Ponpon was always pressured by Proxy.
Exactly. You know, Ponpon, the 0-5 and 2 slash line really tells the story right here. You compare the 2 junglers, Habwa at 5-3 and 9 and Ponpon at 0-5 and 2. Unfortunately, just wasn't his game. We're going to look forward to game 2, where we're going to see what Ponpon can do, because Ponpon traditionally is a much more powerful player.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be, if Denial wants to take this to a game 3, it's going to be a long road to recovery.
And this is the Smite Launch Tournament. There is a lot riding on the line. Just to reiterate, the winner of this entire 3-day event will take home $100,000. So I'm pretty sure Denial wants to take this to a game 3, Kret.
Oh, yeah, because if they don't, they're going to be eliminated, and they'll be going home with only 2% of the prize pool. So, see, 20,000. What's that? It's 4,000 per team?
You're the math guy.
4,000 per team, something like that. I can't do math.
I
don't have any napkins.
Yeah, me and Crit, we scribble down stuff in the lobby as we figure out our intent. You know, what was that about chin size? 4%?
Yeah, 4%.
So pretend you're in a car. Don't worry, we'll save that for another time. You guys have probably already heard the soapbox coming out of Cret Dot as far as that's concerned. But we're going to look forward to Game 2. I'm so excited because Denial, they can bring so much more than they have today. We've seen them yesterday put on such a good fight, and it's going to be something interesting. We're going to be pulled into the second game very shortly. What are you looking forward to see differently from Denial the next game that we didn't see this previous one?
You know, I think I really like the Skilla, and I want to see more of it, and I really liked Rush on Shock. But honestly, just let Freya go.
I 100% agree. Freya is a pick that's kind of defied Denial. You know, Freya's just a powerful character, and we see teams want to pick them, but, you know, this is a story.
You know, it's ironic, too.
Why's that?
Freya was brought into the meta by Pon with his double starting item build. He used Death Soul and Vampiric Shroud when the games when mages could build physical.
Right.
And it was actually very powerful. He brought Freya into the meta and showed everyone just how annoying and troublesome that character is. But now it's not a good pick for SK. They're going to be banning Tyr against NQ.
Well, you have to ban Tyr against SK Gaming, so there are characters that just play well against other players, essentially. And NQ, when you hear the word Tyr, you think NQ. He's just absolutely lights out. It's something that's crazy. But Denial's problem, I really want to see them stay away from that Freya because it's the same problem that Dignitas had a while back. Now, when you see Lazarus play Tyr, he's absolutely lights out. He does absolutely nuts, but you don't start off that way, folks. About 2 months ago, we saw Dignitas, who's one of the better teams when it comes to the strategy of
Thanatos ban?
Thanatos ban does come out. That's interesting. Proxy QQ does play a very good Thanatos, so that's targeted.
Yeah, but if you're going to ban out Proxy, Freya, Habois,
yeah,
that seems weird to me. It seems like it's a ban against a character that Proxy has as like his third priority.
Well, Denial does have first pick right here, so we're going to see Habois. I would like to see Habois on Mace to the Face.
Yeah.
Mace to the Face plays an amazing Habois. I haven't seen it come out too recently, and I don't know why, because
Nemesis.
We talked about positioning. We talked about positioning with respect to Denial. Positioning is what you need for Habois, and that's what Mace to the Face brings to the table. His positioning is generally on point, and I like to see him play that Habois because it's just so powerful. We see the Nemesis highlighted right here. Not sure if they're going to lock it in, but if they do,
oh, please.
Pon's Nemesis is very scary and could almost single-handedly win Game 2.
And we actually saw Pon's Nemesis almost single-handedly win a game up against TSM yesterday.
7, 2, and 11 was the slash line. Insane.
Yeah, it's just such a strong character on Pon. Definitely worthy of the first pick, but I'm still questioning these bans out from Denial as they are going to give up Chalk, Vamana. Oh, we're going to see Chalk mid.
We're going to see the Chalk mid. Captain Twig, the originator
or maybe
of
jungle,
the Chalk
but
mid.
Probably mid.
Actually, yeah, that's very true. Proxy QQ is a fantastic Chalk jungle. That's who we think of. You know, we think of Proxy, hi-rez, and DJ Pernigan when it comes to Chalk jungle. It requires
and now Andenster too.
Andenster a little bit, yeah. Andenster
yesterday
has brought it to the Smite launch tournament. Not something that we really think of him playing, but a lot of people have been pulling tricks out of their sleeve for this 100 grand. But so Geb is going to be picked as well as Poseidon. Mace to the Face does play a good Poseidon, but I want to talk about this Chalk. I want to see a mid. So normally you see a mage mid for a number of reasons. You know, there's 3 reasons why you pick a mage mid. The ability to clear the wave easily, the ability to impact when you do rotate with burst damage onto the enemy, and mid camp secure. It's very scary to run into a mage. Well, Captain Twig one day said, you know, Chalk has all of those, Cret, so why not just put him in the middle lane? He did, and they won, 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 and now he's here playing in Atlanta, Georgia, on that Chalk. We're going to see a Habois picked. I'm going to assume that's
that's
Proxy,
interesting, though.
And we'll see what happens.
Because everyone associates Freya with Proxy, yet given the opportunity, he's going to pick Habois, so you think maybe he thinks Habois is a better matchup against Nemesis. And I think that's probably what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree because while Freya does have To the Skies, which is what she yells when she uses Valkyrie's Discretion, Habois can just crushing wave you. And that combined with the knock-up and the it's not a dash, but the path of the yellow seas, it's a slow for the enemy and a movement speed increase for himself. That combined with the burst damage, it's sort of like Freya plus with respect to Nemesis.
Now, you know, another thing that it comes down to, and this is part of Heboa's kit that's very powerful, and I personally think is intrinsically overpowered.
Okay.
That's not to say it's imbalanced, it's
Right.
just overpowered.
Right.
He can knock you up and then hit you with Crushing Wave, so he can hit you with a very high damage ultimate and make sure you cannot Aegis it, or in this case, use Retribution. And that is an incredibly powerful asset against a character like Nemesis, who likes to build very light on defenses and just rely on protection from the ultimate, high maneuverability, and that Retribution shield to stay alive. Well, Heboa's going to say, no, it's not going to happen. And then once again, we're going to see Artemis for reals-X. I loved how it came out last game. I can't wait to see what he does this game, but this time there's going to be a Geb, and Geb is a very powerful character.
Geb is powerful, but so is Ra. We talked about it. There are two hunters, Pain Devion and reals-X. As we said, Canada and Europe being represented, Canada and the UK being represented. The win-loss percentage is a little bit deceiving. As
Isn't Canada a part of Europe?
Sometimes it certainly seems that way, Kret. But yeah, I'm more interested in the KDA. 118 kills over the course of the past 8 weeks for our man over here, reals-X, with only 86 kills going for Pain Devion. We're going to see how aggressive they can be, and if those numbers are representative of what we're going to see in this next match.
And you know, part of it comes down to the fact that SK hit the finals a few more times than Denial did, and they played more games.
Very true. So, you know, larger numbers don't always mean larger talent, and we're going to see what works out. And Jeff Hindla on this Geb, you know, this is a traditional Guardian, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you used to seeing Jeff Hindla being able to put out a lot of damage, while Geb can certainly do that, it's not going to be the same in juxtaposition to the Odin or Sun Wukong or Guan Yu that he loves to play.
Okay, so let's go ahead and introduce our teams on the lower side of the map. The pristine side is going to be Denial eSports. They're grouping up as 5. They actually might find people here. SK will spot them out and back off, so Denial not going to find a pick. They are Mesa Face on your middle lane Poseidon, Jeff Hindla on your support Geb, Pain as your hunter Apollo, in the solo lane Rushed Hindla rushed on Ra, and Pon Hindla on your jungle Nemesis.
Yeah, Denial seems to have that Hindla last name all across the board. As everyone, we keep mentioning, everyone does have sort of a support mindset. On the right side for SK, we have Badger in the long lane on Sun Wukong, supporting his man reals-X, that Artemis. Captain Twig is going to play that mid lane shock. So excited to see that. NQ is going to reprise his role from Mana in the long lane. And Proxy QQ is going to be in the jungle again on Heboa. The first basic attack goes to reals-X.
And that's a huge factor. Pain, I think more than any other hunter, firmly believes in the first basic attack and always goes for it. So going to reals-X, perhaps a factor that, and I do say this jokingly, but perhaps a factor that could demoralize him, as it is something that he, and it's a little bit of a joke, but you know, sometimes you take jokes seriously.
Yeah, no, it's a superstition, and everybody has their superstition. You know, sometimes in the locker room, you know, players need to put on a certain pair of socks or a certain pair of underwear. Well, right here in Smite, Pain Devion is
hold on though, there's an invade on the right-hand side coming out from SK, a double knock-up onto Pon and Rushed, and that's going to put them very far behind, as SK was able to secure the blue buff, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
They were able to secure the blue buff. That's going to put Rush a little bit behind. Rod does like to use a lot of mana in the early stages here. Shock, on the other hand, doesn't need to use any mana. We see him in the middle lane, sort of basic attacking things down, and then tossing the free axe that comes with his passive. Of course, that's 5 basic attacks, and then his next ability is essentially, well, not even essentially, it just is free, ladies and gentlemen. It costs 0 mana.
Now, he is going to be up against Poseidon, and while Chalk has very good clear, he doesn't have the best clear in the game, and Poseidon actually might. That Whirlpool and Tidal Surge combo clears waves very, very quickly from about level 3, and I think the only character that can clear earlier and faster is probably the Hades.
Yeah, very true, but Chalk is going to reach a level, I believe it's around 9, maybe? That might even be a little late, where Thunder Strike, the axe throw, will be able to just completely get rid of the entire wave. So you're going to see two players match the floor. And over here, we take a look at the long lane. You know, a potion being forced out of Badger right here, and just going to sort of flat by him. But with the stone shield, that's going to be enough to sustain that poke from the archer. He's going to roll away into the jungle, and the 200s are left all by themselves. As the support, the blink comes up because Jeff really wants these mid camps.
Well, he just used shock. Okay, Ponpon's there.
Yep.
He did use his shockwave, which means he can't crowd control on and off, but they will be able to get the mid camp without using a Hand of the Gods, which is always nice to do. And it's just going to be an even trade on mid camps. Both mid laners hitting level 5, but Mace's mid lane, it's a little stronger, but unlike most mid lane matchups for Poseidon, he probably can't kill Chalk.
Probably not, you know. Chalk is going to be hard.
Oh, in the duo lane, though, Pain is getting aggressed by Reels X. They're both a little low, but Badger's going to rotate in, and that's going to result in Pain returning to base. Reels X hitting level 5, and it's rough because Artemis is a much stronger level 5 than Apollo.
Yeah, Apollo's level 5 is, of course, when you get your ultimate. Apollo's going to be the one to get across the sky. That ultimate allows him to go into the air and travel all the way across the map wherever he feels fit. And his man is essentially his gas tank. Whereas Artemis, her ability is much more impactful and direct. What it does is it drops down the board, it stuns you, and is able to get more attacks on you. So it's more relevant to a direct fight, whereas Pain's is just going to be more of a utility than an attack. So level 5 is much more important for Artemis and much harder to deal with as an Apollo.
Yeah, and it's not to say that Artemis's ultimate is worse, simply because Apollo can really change the course of the game. Now, Captain Twig is going to be getting ganked by Mace and Ponpon. They're not going to find enough damage to consider using an ultimate on that one. So unfortunately, no kill going down there. We are still waiting for our Logitech First Blood to show up. And I think both of these teams could very easily get it just because of the massive burst that comes out of Poseidon and the massive burst that comes out of Habois.
Yeah, there's a lot of burst damage that comes out of either side. Habois can get a First Blood very surprisingly, essentially. Badger's going to try and make that happen, and here's a rotation of Mace in the face. Could have been a good rotation. Badger's still stuck in between, but with Proxy and Captain Twig following suit, now it becomes a much more precarious situation. This left mid camp is going to be spawning. It just did. Out comes the carpet bowl from Genshin, puts the shield onto himself. Proxy has that crushing wave available. Just going to actually get the Cataclysm. Both of them are stunned, but now he's in an interesting situation. Lots of damage coming out. Down goes Jeff Hindler for a Logitech First Blood of the game. Out comes the assist from Captain Twig. He's going to actually just barely get out. Pain's going to be searched down in the back from Badger, but Ponpon's going to get Proxy QQ in the back as well. This is a very spread out engagement, and all in all, a 1-for-1. But First Blood does go to SK. So
oh, Ponpon though, he's going to find Badger. Slice and Dice confirms the kill, and unfortunately for Badger, he had like 10 mana less than he needed to have in order to confirm the kill on Pain. It's just really unfortunate circumstance.
Very true, and here comes Ponpon. You know, this is what we were talking about earlier in the day. 2 kills already at the 5-minute mark, something that's absolutely incredible. We're going to look for him to snowball along those lines, whereas Proxy, somebody he's supposed to be just as scary. 1 death and 1 assist isn't necessarily the slash line he wants when his opponent jungler is up 2-0.
Yeah, so now it is going to be a 200 gold lead going for SK Gaming, simply because they've been out farming their opponents a little bit, getting a better job at mid camp. So they are down 1 kill, they're up a First Blood, and this essentially means that they've probably farmed out about 300 gold more than their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. There's as we take a look at the graphs right now, 200 gold differential between the two teams going the way of SK Gaming. And the experience is also leading towards SK Gaming. 500 up, you know, that's of course spread among 5 different characters, so that's going to be a little different. But it's all about the goal at this point in time, Grant. And 300, 200, that's virtually nothing. But at the moment, SK sort of has the momentum coming in from game 1, and they're going to look to turn that 300, which just going up, you're going to see it get more and more, unless now there's something to stop it, which it looks like they want to do, trying to get this mid camp.
Yeah, and we're going to see Cataclysm come out into bad Divine Judgment as well. The Bird of Nope is out, but it might not be enough as Ponpon is quite fast into the Somersault Cloud, and Badger will escape, and that's the problem with aggressing on to a character like Sun Wukong. Now Pain has ulted in. The rotation is coming out from eSports, and Ponpon's going to be in trouble waiting for his dash to come out. And like a shotgun, but he's going to get interrupted. Will fall to Captain Twig. There's the Tempest to confirm. Kraken comes out, and it's going to find Proxy. 1-for-1 in that engagement. Nicely done.
Yeah, this is what Denial needs to keep doing. They need to keep getting 1-for-1 trades, not allowing the enemy team to just knock them out and knock them down. Not content to go on without a fight. 1-for-1 is what they're going to want to do. It's still a virtual tie. There is an extra kill onto Denial eSports, which is good for them. We're sitting at the 7.5-minute mark, just about, with a virtual tie going on right here, Craig. And the one thing that catches my eye, once again, Ponpon, innovative as always, not just a bum as but a depth.
Yeah, so Ponpon's build is very, very fluid, much more fluid than any other hunter, and he's chosen not to really finish any items. He has 2 starter items, going into boots 2, but not electing to finish them as he doesn't want to spend 1,000 gold on getting those items, or perhaps he didn't have that much gold when he got back. We'll be going into a mace, which is likely going to be turning into a Jotun's Wrath, but could potentially be a Titan's Mane, or potentially a Brawler's Beat Stick. We'll see what he elects to go for.
Yeah, there's no reason to get a Brawler's Beat Stick. You know, NQ does have a healing ability from the Vamana Ultimate, and Captain Twig does have a Rainstorm or Rain Dance, which heals him up as well. But none of those abilities are really, at this moment in time, in this early game, you know, you're not really going to look for a counter item. You just want to build up your stats. So we're and the Titan's Mane is probably a little too early with that penetration. So we're going to see a Jotun's Wrath. That's going to provide 11 points of penetration, a nice even number.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you get that Jotun's Wrath. It also gives you the cooldown reduction, which is a nice pickup and really helpful. Now, Mace the Face is aggressing in that middle lane, looking for something onto Captain Twig, but will not be finding it just yet. The left mid camp won't be spawning for quite a while, so Jeff Hinla hovering, but it's going to be another 15 seconds. Badger in the middle lane, also in the area, and these teams are actually grouping up as a fight goes down in the solo lane, but it's the solo lane. You're probably not going to see a kill happen there.
Very true. We see both of these teams waiting for the mid camps. The mid camps are going to go virtually to SK. You know, SK, out comes the Cataclysm. We see a little bit of this. Jeff Hinla's now in the middle, taking a lot of damage. Captain Twig's going to get the kill. The Kraken's going to miss almost completely. Ponpon's going to use his Retribution. Proxy's going to use everything to take down Pain to be all. Now we have 4 members of SK rotating onto the left-hand side. Ponpon all by his lonesome, being caught out almost. Here comes Badger. Here comes Captain Twig. Here comes Real ZX. 4v1. Ponpon needs to pull everything out of the bag to get out of this one. With the dash down, that's inevitable. The death goes credited to Badger.
So Ponpon, well, SK covered every option from Ponpon, and I think the only thing that he could have done there would have been to run towards SK's tower and hopefully delay this Gold Fury for Jeff Hinla to arrive, but still it's unlikely, and that's going to put SK at a 3,000 gold lead off of a great team fight, a Gold Fury secure, and really they've got all the cards in their favor at this point. They're winning the Hunter matchup as Artemis is going to be just scarier than Apollo right now and has much more gold and experience because of assists. The supports Badger's just in a better spot, will be much quicker on getting that sovereignty, which is a huge, huge factor for support players. NQ's winning the solo lane, but that's more even than any other matchup. Captain Twig is invulnerable to Mace to the Face. He can't be killed in lane, and Mace will just repeatedly get poked down by the Thunder Strike. And the jungle matchup, while Ponpon's doing very, very well, Proxy has put out a massive amount of damage for his team and is just doing a great job overall.
Yeah, Ponpon's going to come show his face in the middle lane. Not really anything of consequence, just getting a little bit of experience as he is level 9, 2 levels below his enemy jungler, as Brett just summarized for us. 9 versus 11. That's going to be a big difference, especially when you're a Nemesis, a character that functions pretty well when ahead. Here comes a little minor engagement. Mace to the Face being shielded as he is that switchier target. Bad is going to go ahead and take these on the gas in the mid lane. Real's going to come out and help him and also get some of that experience. While these right camps are only halfway through the timer, so it's going to be a little bit more, and these camps are staggered, so he's going to be looking for that as You're actually seeing a surprise engagement. Maybe the face taken down very quickly from Badja, along with the rest of SK. There are now 5 members quietly sitting in the middle lane. real-X is going to confirm the kill onto Jeff Hidla. Down comes Pain to be all into the middle lane. Rushes here as well. Pain not turning his life that time after the ultimate. Quack's getting hit by the snipe, but not enough to kill him. The Aegis comes out, and Hotbot's not going to get the kill either. NQ tanking the towers for his team as they eject. They got about 80% damage done to this tower, and that's going to be a win for SK Gaming, sitting at about 4,700 gold. We're at the 12-minute mark, and SK's already in the lead.
Oh yeah, they're really far in the lead now. NQ did take Rush Tower off of his ultimate. He just kind of walked in and beat it to the ground, so that tower is going to be down for Denial, and I don't expect them to be able to kill the SK solo lane tower anytime soon. Denial just isn't able to find the positioning they need.
Yeah. You know, Denial's looking for the positioning, and their characters aren't very position-based. You know, Mace of the Face can launch the Kraken from wherever he wants. Pon has so many abilities to get out of trouble. Jeff Hidla has the rollout to get out of trouble, but the problem is SK understands that, and they're diving into where Denial feels safe. They said, hey, we don't care if it's 11, 10 minutes. We're going to jump into your tower. I'm a mana. You know, NQ's already level 14 on Vamana, doesn't have any real defensive items built or immediately building in a Hasten Fatalis, so he's going to be on the offensive, but still naturally tanky enough to tank enough tower hits for his team to secure a bunch of kills.
Now we do have SK grouping up a little bit, and I think they're just going to keep looking at this middle lane tower. They want to close out this game before Denial has any chance at recovery. And in order to do that, they're going to need to keep pressuring. Now, NQ is going to jump into tower, drop some rest, but with Raw or Blessing, they will be able to heal up nicely. But Proxy's got very strong poke, and so does Captain Twig. Chalk and Habois just is an amazing, and I guess Sun Wukong too.
Yeah.
And Artemis. This is just a great poke composition.
Yeah, a lot of these characters have a lot of long
Cataclysm though.
The close range poke comes out of Jeff Hidla, the blink into the Cata. Not going to be of any consequence, but Captain Swing is at about 60% HP. Out comes Pain to be on a very haphazard ultimate right there, jumping into the front lines, not hitting anybody, and opting to use
Well, he hit Chalk, but honestly, I'm not sure that counts as hitting anybody. Is Chalk? I don't think he even cared.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you know, he's just trying to get positioning down. The ultimate comes out from Frost. Double knockup coming out from Frost. The Kraken's going to hit, but not do enough damage to take down Captain Twig. I think that was the target. Rush is getting in trouble from Badja in the back. That's just a fake Badja, but Proxy is doing the poking. That water spout is controlling Denial so well. Proxy QQ showing why he is one of the premier Habois jungle players at the moment. You know, the original Habois was Lionheart up at our Alienware analyst desk upstairs on the main stage, and Proxy QQ is following him in his footsteps, playing very well today. Has a 1-2-5 record at the moment, but if this goes on, Habois becomes a very scary concept in the jungle, and you're going to look to see that almost reverse.
Yeah, well, what it comes down to here is the closest thing to a hyper carry that Smile has is Pon on Nemesis, but it's pretty hard to pull off. You kind of have to consistently outplay people with your raw mobility, whereas...
Raw mobility?
No. Yes, but RAW. Whereas there's no qualifier on Habois. He's just a hyper carry.
Yeah. No,
I guess the closest thing is until he dies.
Yeah. No, Habois has just pure burst damage. The water spout is going to knock you out of position, and then the water cannon combined with everything.
Oh, in the dual lane, though, Pain's going to get hit by Tusky into the Transgressor's Fate, the trap, but that is just a solo kill from real-X. Badja showing up to grab an assist, but now Pon's going to be caught out in the jungle, able to just dash away. But with Pain down and Pon backing off, this should be the Gold Fury, nice and easy for SK Gaming. And that's going to boost them up to about an 8,000 gold lead.
Yeah, right now I really like this play. We have 3 members of SK on the Gold Fury, while 2 members of SK opted to play the zoning game. You know, NQ damage doesn't really need to be there. Out comes the Kraken, is going to hit NQ for about 10% HP. Not really what you want out of a high burst ability like that, and SK has successfully taken the Gold Fury, 7,800 gold right now in the lead. Pon falls as well, and SK is going to look at this left lane possible tower.
Yeah, I mean, SK is just grouping up so well, and I think at this point they've essentially completely demoralized Denial. I don't see the recovery from Denial unless SK makes a big mistake.
Yeah, no, SK really needs to do something large in order to make this game turn around. It's 8,200 in the way of SK Gaming, like I said, at the 17-minute mark, and we're going to see something happen for Denial. Hopefully, if they want to continue this and bring this on to Game 3, but I'm not so sure that that's in the cards for them at the moment.
Yeah, I think the way that Denial can recover this game is A, sit under their towers and farm as much as possible, clear the jungle every chance they get, keep wards on objectives, and only fight SK under objectives.
Yeah, very true. They have to play the defensive game at the moment. And, you know, I really think they're still in this, Cred. I'm not being political. I'm not being nice. I think there's a number of things that Denial can do. You know, they do have Jeff Hinla able to secure objectives. We haven't seen it at all this tournament, but don't count that out. I think that's a very real possibility. But also, SK taking this middle tower is also a real possibility. Should this lead extrapolate to 10,000 or more, that will be a very scary proposition for Denial to deal with. But sitting at this 8,500 gold mark at 18 minutes, you know, things are grim for sure, but I think Denial can do things. We've seen them do things in the past to bring this to the forefront. Pain de Beyond sitting at an 0-2-2 record. He certainly needs to lift it up. Proxy is sort of doing a lot of work, a lot of the damage for his team, but Pain, if Denial wants to be a factor in this matchup, Pain needs to play Pain needs to play like he played to get on Denial eSports. Pain right now is just not playing up to the level we're seeing from him.
Yeah, and you know, another thing to know is that SK has a lot of options right here, which is difficult for Denial to deal with. Right now, SK is electing to group up, look for picks. They could find Jeff Hinla in the jungle as Proxy's getting aggressive. Cataclysm comes out, and Proxy will be in trouble, actually using Aegis to stay alive, but only for a little while. Gets the crushing wave off. Will not actually connect with anyone, and Proxy's going to go down, but Pain's in trouble. Reelsx aggressing onto him, and Pain is forced out of his engagement. Now it's just Ponpon alone once again, trying to get damage on Captain Twig, but he knows his team isn't there. NQ in the backline looking for Pain as the tower is tanked by Batcha. Pain's going to be able to dash away, and it is going to be a 1-for-0 pickoff in favor of Denial.
But they're going to trade for that tower. The middle tower has fallen just now. And Podpod's on the chase looking for Badger. The axe is going to miss everybody. So now you have 5 members of Denial in the middle lane looking to turn this around. They got the proxy, which is what they're really afraid of. They're looking to shove this tower.
Yeah, but Badge and NQ are here. Captain Twig is here as well. And Denial, I don't think they can get it. Ponpon's stuck in a whirlpool, so he's going to be getting very low. NQ able to secure with the Armored Umbrella, and that's just, you know, there's a change to the Whirlpool recently where it cripples you if you dash through it. That Whirlpool hit the ground as Ponpon was mid-dash, and he got stuck in it. And Ponpon in this tournament has gotten really unlucky with things happening to him mid-dash.
Yeah, you know, mid-dash, and, you know, unlucky, unfortunately, is not, you know, in this case, I really don't think it's unlucky. Proxy has been on.
Oh, you remember the dash interrupt yesterday, though? I think, okay, you're right. It's not entirely luck. It's also prediction.
Yes.
But the prediction requires luck.
I suppose I'm still going to give it to Proxy right here. The water spouts have been on point. You know, absolutely insane. Because prediction, you can tell as a player, you have a couple of ways to go. You have a couple of places to go as Pain is being aggressed onto NQ. He's only got one way to go, and that's down the lane. But you have a couple of ways and directions to go, some of them being better than others. And right now, Russ is going to get caught out. Not just one, but 2 members of SK on him. He's going to pop the sprint, or the heavenly agility in his case. Reelsx also popping his, aggressing on him. No slowdown from the basic attacks. Out comes a somersault cloud. One more shot. There it is. Reelsx is going to kill Rush on his own tower. Now they're going to clear the whole wave, and Badger's the Badger minion is going to tank the tower. So now it's going to clear this, and now you have 4 members of SK right here ready to make something happen.
Yeah, they're going to start by stealing away this blue buff, which they might as well do, but Blink Cataclysm is going to find 3. There's the Kraken, and this is a great engagement for Denial eSports. NQ's just backing up as Pain's getting chased. He's going to turn around. His misface is aggressed on by Captain Twig. Captain Twig trying to get damage, and that Storm Call is going to hit 3, but Badge is getting beaten down by Pain, and is going to be the disengage. Ponpon dashes forward, slicing dice already being used. Creeping Curse will slow down Denial's aggression, And in the end, they're only going to find one, Proxy, taking down the right inner tower. And while the Gold Fury is pulled by Denial, I think Captain Twig's going to try and force the reset. He does not have a Hand of the Gods. It's only on Badger. Captain Twig will take down Mace to the face, but NQ falls as well. And now aggressing onto Pon is Captain Twig.
Yeah, Badger's getting very low. The bird is out, so that's going to be his escape. But Captain Twig does not have a bird, but he does have a kill onto Pon. Ooh la la. Payne Devion and Jeff Hindler is going to walk away. Rush going to recall as well. This is looking very grim, ladies and gentlemen. 22 minutes in.
Shivo.
That's not supposed to be how that works.
Not at all. The Phoenix on the right-hand side is at about 10% HP. One more time. We're at 22.5 minutes. We have an 11,500 gold differential in the way of SK Gaming. 17,000 experience split amongst the 5 of those players. 13 kills actually on SK in juxtaposition to the 6 coming out of Team Denial. This game is very much in SK's hands, but, you know, you don't want to surrender in a match like this. There's so much riding on this. He seems to have fought for 8 long, arduous weeks to get here. Denial does not want to go home by pressing F6.
You know, I think it's important to touch on that. Can you remember the last time Captain Twig actually took damage?
Captain Twig, you know, he does take a lot of damage. The problem is that he just heals it back up with that rain dance, and he can avoid the large burst with his ultimate. You know, Stormcall provides you a couple of seconds of immunity, and when you fall down, everybody's silenced that you hit for 3 full seconds. So a very powerful ability, and something that's really protecting him from becoming, you know, cannon fodder. Something that Denial is really looking to do.
So here's the thing about SK right now. They're setting up 13,000 gold. They still have 3,000 gold to take from getting towers. So Denial's recovery, it's going to be very rough. We do have a Weakening Curse coming out from Captain Twig to stop the aggression, but he's going to turn, drop a Thunder Strike, and SK is grouped back up. They are ready to keep going.
Yeah, SK wanted to push, but Denial's right here to play the defense. Nothing really he can do to do anything against this push. You know, Captain Twig sitting at 19, Badger sitting at 16, but he's the support. The 3 players that matter are 19, 19, 18 on Badger, Reels, and NQ. Mace is only 17. You know, Rush is 18. He can do a little bit, but he's more of a defensive character at the moment as he's building, you know, that CDR. He has the Breastplate of Valor and the Mail of Renewal, so he's going to be looking to be a full-fledged healer. The rest of his team, they are similar, but Payne is only level 15 in comparison to Reel's 19. It's just not enough.
Payne on the left-hand side. He's going to be found by Proxy. Water Spout, Water Hands, Polynomicon down to 200 health. Wow.
He did roll out trying to protect his teammate Jeff Hindler, and you know, like you said, and actually there's a big fight under the tower. You know, the Kraken comes out, not a big deal right there for SK to worry about. Out comes a lot of ultimates, nothing of consequence, but it doesn't matter. The tower goes down, Payne falls down in the middle, not dead yet. Captain Twig is going to kill Rush in the back. Ponpon's going to look to escape, but there are 2 members on his tail. Badger using the bird to catch up while the rest of his team fights over this middle Phoenix. This is looking, you know, I don't know if they can get the Phoenix off this, but
Payne's going to actually find a kill under Reels X. That was a really nice hit with that auto attack, but he dashed in. He dashed in and found 4. Payne will fall, and that's a 3-for-1. That's not looking good for Denial. They will be able to defend their Phoenix. They're not able to defend that tower, and I think SK is calling for the Fire Giant, but Jeff Hindler is alive. They might just be going for jungle buffs instead.
Yeah, they're going to go and clear the jungle buffs. You know, Jeff Hindler hasn't really done much of his trademark skills this tournament. None first day. We've only had 2 games. This is the 2nd game that he's featured in, and unfortunately could possibly be his last. But we're going to see exactly what Denial can do to take back this 15,000 gold deficit. Maybe, well, actually, we shouldn't speak so harshly. Yesterday, we got to see Cognitive Gaming come back from a 17 gold deficit against Team Smite. You know, really, what do you think was the key factor in that turnaround?
Well, they were given an opportunity by Snipe. Snipe got wiped out by an all-in play for the Titan, and Barracuda gets a triple. That gave an opening for Cognitive to create a road to recovery. If SK plays safe and closes the Vice, tightens the noose, Denial's not going to have that opportunity, and I don't think it's at the point where they can really force the opportunity unless they do manage to steal a Fire Giant.
And
But
Ponpon's
Ponpon,
going to give the enemy an opportunity, getting his dash canceled for a millionth time, and he's going to fall for, you know, for just the 6th time. So that is a decent amount of deaths on Ponpon Ulala right there. Like I said, that's going to be his 6th death, and that's going to let SK pressure onto the Fire Giant. They're going to start doing it, but it's just a bait. They want to keep JeffHindler out all by himself because they knew he would come. Out comes the Cataclysm. He's looking to get out. The enemy, the friendly Kraken comes out to try and provide a little bit of support, but he's going to get out by the skin of his teeth. But with 3 members of SK Gaming onto him, not sure he can get out. Meanwhile, 1 member falls in the back from either team, Proxy QQ and Pain de Vion for SK and Denial respectively. And now we're seeing Rush going to fall down as well. Captain Twig is absolutely unstoppable. A 7-kill streak. Mace to the Face going to fall down as well. The only member of Denial eSports alive is JeffHindler. Him being forced.
well, Ponpon respawned.
Ponpon has respawned since the death, but going back to base, this is where we're going to see SK take the Fire Giant. Where I come from, Trent, they call this free.
Yeah, this is definitely a free Fire Giant. Nice and easy. It will not be on Proxy, which is unfortunate, but honestly, he has more than enough magic power. And the extra, what is it, 70? It's not needed. I think he does enough damage. I mean, when you look at the number, he's sitting at 18,000 damage going out. He has died 4 times, which is the most on Steam, but was an intrinsically suicidal character, and when he does spawn, he's going to be spending quite a lot of gold. There are only 3 Phoenixes up, so SK Gaming with that Fire Giant is going to look to group up, take the Phoenixes, and as long as they don't get caught in a perfect Cataclysm, that's a Cataclysm Kraken combo, they should be okay.
Yeah, you know, if the Cataclysm is the Kraken Cataclysm combo, then the Cretaclysm is when Cret gets the opportunity to call that ultimate, of course. So Denial, they're sitting about 20,000 gold down, and you know, let's really touch upon the rest of our tournament. You know, this is the 2nd day. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the Smite launch tournament with 2 long years in beta. A lot of these players have been playing for practically the entire time, so they really know the ins and outs of this game. It's been such a pleasure to be at this LAN. A lot of these players are meeting for the very first time, and their teams are playing so much differently on LAN. Tell me a little bit, being an ex-player yourself, tell me a little bit of the difference between LAN and home. The gameplay, not just the ping, but all the other intangibles.
Well, I mean, part of it is you get to meet people, and that's jarring and weird. It's really fun, but you know, you have seen these players. We've seen Ponpon on his stream through his webcam. But sometimes you don't realize that players are actually 3-dimensional. Now, we do have reelzegz taking down Pain in the right-hand lane. That's going to result in that Phoenix going down. In the middle lane, Cataclysm comes out, and lots of damage onto SK, but they don't seem to care. Ponpon aggressed on by Badger. The middle Phoenix falls, the right Phoenix falls, and now SK is going to be looking at the Titan. No, they're going to be looking at Denial, going for the kill. Rush will fall, Mace will fall, Proxy has a double. Can he get more? No, he's going to be put down to very low health. So will the Titan will fall. SK takes a confident victory over Denial eSports. Very well played.
Yeah, that's going to mean that SK Gaming does go on another peace side, coming out from NQ looking very confident, and that's going to be the end of the road for Denial eSports. A long road to Atlanta, Georgia, the 4th seed being secured. We see NQ shaking hands with our admin. X-Fats, please pronounce the X, ladies and gentlemen, but well played by SK. And right there he is looking at the camera with a hug. Very happy is SK Gaming as we see them. And, you know, the story of the game, I have to say, is Captain Twig. 7-0-11, ladies and gentlemen, playing that incredible, unconventional mid-lane chalk, something we really don't get to see, but something that's very potent, and he showed us today just exactly why that is.
Yeah, it was just a beautiful play from Captain Twig on that chalk mid, sitting at 7-0-11. Doing 20,000 damage on a bruiser. That, you know, there's a reason you don't let him do that.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's very good against a character like Poseidon. I think picking Poseidon into chalk mid either means Denial didn't properly do their research,
yeah,
or they didn't fully think through that matchup, because Mace had no pressure on Captain Twig. There's just no opportunity for Mace to kill him. You need a mid that can just do more damage to his opponent. So we're going to be talking to Proxy for an interview. He will be down here in about 3 minutes. And, you know, Proxy's a character, or a player and a character that we can't gloss over. His hub wall was instrumental in both victories, playing more of a suicidal carry role.
Yeah, you know, Proxy, the crushing waves put you so far out of position. It's an ultimate that moves you with it, so it's absolutely insane to see it play out like that. And something that sort of waves side to side rather dangerously, putting you in the wrong spot. But if played correctly, the amount of damage that comes out from it is absolutely incredible.
I'm going to hit you. But, you know, one other thing to note is that I think it's kind of funny. Proxy was sitting at 2 and 4 in terms of kills to deaths until that last fight. And while SK Gaming could have just all in the Titan, Proxy made sure to get 2 kills so he could go even.
Nobody wants to look negative.
Nobody wants to look like a feeder.
Nobody wants to look like a feeder. And that's, of course, the joke that we toss around here. We always like to say that Proxy is the one that feeds. But in the end, he is the one that deals the damage. We're looking at 16.
It's also the plan.
Yeah,
I mean, when you play Hublaw, it is a suicidal character.
Yeah, very, very true. That's what's going to come out of Proxy. But we're going to see what comes out of his mouth in just a couple of minutes. Bear with us. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be back in very soon. My name is F. for Kret. We'll see you in a bit with Proxy. We'll see you soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. My name is F. And right to my right, we have the jungler for SK Gaming, your winners that are going on to the next bracket. His name is Proxy QQ. How you doing today?
I'm doing super fine.
I'm sure you're doing super fine after that win. First of all, congratulations, first and foremost. Definitely something I want to give to you. And first question, Habwa Jungle. It was obviously very powerful for you. You wound up with 25,000 damage. What's a key point, and why do you like to play the Habwa? Because you played him in both matches.
Yeah, basically, before the weekly started, I was like kind of famous for my Habo jungle, and I was super strong with him.
Yeah.
In the weeklies, I overpicked Freya because she was super strong, and a lot of teams picked her up. So I was forced to play her. Turned out that I was pretty good with her, so I played Freya a lot. But yeah, Habo is probably my favorite god still.
Right.
And I just had the chance because he picked Nemesis in the second game. What is a super counter to Nemesis Habo?
Yeah, we were talking about that briefly, but I'd like to get the actual pro player's perspective, if you allow some alliteration real quick. What exactly makes Habwa so powerful against the powerhouse that Nemesis is?
So basically, Habo has really low cooldowns. You can still use your beats if you want to get an extra cooldown reduced. And yeah, the basic thing from Nemesis is you can just deny the damage and get healed up. But it doesn't matter because Habo, you can just spawn again and use your free. And especially the free interrupts her free. So if you use your free one combo, you do the normal damage and she can't do anything against it. And then the most players are out of reflection, out of reaction, just like using the free after that. So I just wait and then I can ult and she dies.
Very true. And actually, I have to settle a score with myself and my friend Kret. When you repeatedly, we saw you use Water Spout to knock Nemesis out mid-dash. You planned that, right?
What?
When Nemesis, it's very loud here in Atlanta, Georgia right now, but when Nemesis does the dash, you use Water Spout to stop her mid.
Yeah, I try that often. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
If I can interrupt her second dash, that's huge, so he has no escape. And I can catch her up with my 2.
Yeah, very, very cool play. That's one of my favorite plays, watching you cancel a dash right there. Now let's move from one unconventional pick to the next. Tell me about, we spoke a little bit about it, but tell me about where did Chalk mid come from? Did Captain Twig just wake up one day and go, that's a revelation, I need to go mid with Chalk? Or was there some sort of like team community discussion?
It was basically because I'm usually an AP player. I played mid before I played competitive.
And now AP means magical damage.
Yeah, exactly. And NQ loves to play AP as well, so we lack AD damage.
Okay.
And Twig loves to joust. He loves to play bruisers in joust. And he just came up with the idea I could try Chuck mid.
Okay.
And then we scrimmed with that, and it worked really well. So teams end up banning Chuck against us, especially because of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so every time Chuck is up, we can play him mid, and we can still play him in jungle or solo, so the enemy team doesn't know actually. So if they would have picked the Ra, as example, as only AP, we would send Chuck into the jungle, because Ra could counter Chuck.
Exactly. You know that Chuck is one of those ambiguous picks for your team specifically, because you know when we think Chuck jungle, we think hi-rez and proxy. It's basically, and recently DJ Pernicus, but
yeah,
D2F isn't here. So the teams that matter right now, you know, those are the two people we think of. So the Chuck mid, it's such an interesting pick. It's a little different, and like you said, it's all about the balance. So you know, the magical damage versus the physical damage. Now let's talk a little bit about the game specifically. Both games were rather close. So now put up a good fight early game as they usually do. That's their trademark. And then you guys slowly took a small lead and extrapolated it into a much larger lead. Talk to us about what goes through the mindset and how you actually do that.
So in the first game, it was basically the mid camps. We want to take the fight because we had Odin. Odin is ridiculous OP in mid camps. Because of his ultimate, you can't escape, especially as the most junglers can't escape. And so we forced them to fight us. We each just want to have the fight. And after that, we could pick up Gold Furies pretty easy. We could poke them out in mid camps, and we could force towers. And that's what we tried to do there. And that worked out fine because they took a lot of fights there. And yeah, we ended up coming on top.
So it's just all about the objectives.
It's all about the objectives in Smite, exactly.
So is that SK's main? You know, a lot of teams have a particular like flavor, let's call it. Does SK just focus a lot more on objectives?
I think so, yeah. When we played yesterday against Dignitas, they go all ham. They go into towers. They want to
they
get
like
the
to
kills.
fight.
They want to fight, and we were not prepared enough for that yesterday. And because the EU scene is more like fighting about the mid camp, and if you get the mid camp, you get ahead usually, and you win the game, basically. And Dignitas stumped us more or less with that dives, was really good. And yeah, but usually our main goal is to get the mid camps and then take 1-2 kills and try to get an object and force towers.
Yeah, you know, I do like that objective play, and you know, when it comes down to it, Denial has a similar strategy or a similar mindset. They look for the same thing, and I guess you guys just came up on top. Now, the last question I want to talk about is a little more personal. This is just your second LAN, and where do you live right now?
I live in Germany.
Okay, so coming from Germany, this is your first time in America.
Exactly.
Maybe a little bit of a culture shock. Tell me about not just coming to America not just playing on LAN and the differences from your bedroom, but coming to America for the very first time.
It's super exciting. All the buildings are super high. The people are extremely friendly.
Yeah, we're down here in Atlanta, Georgia. So.
And the bars. Oh my gosh, the karaoke, dude.
Excuse me?
The karaoke.
Oh yeah.
Holy, that was the best experience I ever saw.
You don't have karaoke in Germany?
We have, but it's not like not that excited.
All right, so so moving on. What's your favorite song to sing in karaoke, Proxy QQ?
Oh, I actually can't sing, so.
I don't believe that.
Nah, I really can't sing. I guess I would just go with a standard song, probably.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard that. So, you know, and just touching on the LAN real quick before we go, the difference, obviously, the zero ping. Is there anything else, you know, the crowd, the loud noises, you have me in your ear instead of watching on the VOD later, you know, what's the difference right there, LAN versus home, for you personally?
For me personally, LAN is the best thing I can have. Like, I love when I do a good play and the crowd is cheering, that pumps me just more up. I just play better with that. And yeah, some people in my team are a bit nervous because that's the first LAN for them. So they are not used to it and not to the setup and all that stuff.
Right.
But I guess with some more games they will get used to it, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, you know, it certainly proved true, as you guys did take it in just 2 games. So once again, this is Proxy QQ. Congratulations from myself and the rest of the players here. We're looking forward to your next games. My name's F. We'll see you soon.